You guys are listening to the License to Bear podcast. The ER Avengers. Illuminati with my soul and my body.
But I ain't gay, so these niggas missing out. Yeah, man. Let's talk about the current state of the world. One thing I was gonna talk about is the fact that it seems like Black Lives Matter right now invites three different kinds of discussions for the people who are learning about it. It seems like they are finding out, one, why they matter, or rather how they matter, why they didn't, or why we think they didn't matter before, and then they're also having to be explained to white privilege. It seems like it invites three different conversations, which is why it's such a loaded fucking thing, because it seems like people are really ignorant to the fact that
Yo.
Like, just like how people used to be like, oh, racism don't exist, and you'd be like, oh, racism is dead or some shit like that. It's like, it seems like they're that ignorant right now. like,
Yeah. It's such a simple fucking just statement. It's like, like the simplicity of it is fucking, it's easy to comprehend. That's how you know they just don't want to comprehend. That's just how you know they don't want to comprehend nothing. If somebody's saying Black Lives Matter, then you say, no, all lives matter. And then niggas be like, well, we technically mean Black Lives Matter also.
Yeah, too.
And then you're still like, no, but you still.
What do
like,
you mean also?
Yeah, like, what?
When I say all lives matter, I mean the black people too. Well, why would you have to say it in response to Black Lives Matter if you weren't trying to say no?
Like,
no, they don't.
These niggas are so fucking just stupid to this shit. I'll be wanting to fucking.
Everybody on my timeline just been exposing themselves all week.
That's what I'm about to say too. It's also,
OD, bro.
Who thought Black Lives Matter was gonna give us education on other races too? Mm-hmm. Just in the reverse way. And learning, and this is why it's like such a loaded thing, but I'm like, let's just crack this fucking chestnut, because we've had more come out about the George Floyd case. We've had more happen with the protests, and there's even things that, I've had conversations with my sister about things in the protests that I'm not a big fan of. Like I feel like,
all right, don't get your ass canceled, nigga.
I ain't even trying to know. It's not even that. Listen, I support any protest. Like right now, I sound like I'm trying to be PC and shit.
Tread lightly.
I support.
Tread lightly.
I ain't out, you please.
Tread lightly.
No, it's not that. It's that there's certain things that they're doing at protests that I'm like, I don't think it's a bad thing, but I think it gives. My big thing is that there's certain things that people are doing that are taken away from it, and we need this message to be as strong as we can for as long as we can. And so I think that there's certain things going on in the protests that are taken away. Like for instance, when you was telling me about fucking New Haven was having a protest, and then you was like, yo, they really playing basketball on the highway. My nigga, like if that didn't say
they was just dribbling the basketball.
Like, you fucking serious, bro?
Yes, bro. like if that doesn't say I have no focus, I don't know what does. Like,
yeah, that's retarded.
I have a problem with that. I got a fucking problem with that. Like,
Yeah, that's what I be on sometimes. I personally find the basketball shit humorous, because it's like, y'all niggas really just, because black people, like us as a culture, we have this jokingness about us. Like,
niggas don't take shit
you
serious.
know how to take it, but that's like part of struggle. When your whole life is like oppression and shit, all you can do is figure out ways to fucking offset that shit. Having humor, trading snaps. That's what I was talking about when I was talking about, how this chick, like her trading snaps was like when we trade snaps, we can get really harsh, but before a certain point. Yeah. Whereas like I'd say fucking like, oh yeah, that's why you fucking drop food on your chest every time you eat, and then somebody be like, but that's why your mama dead. Like, no, too much. Like what the fuck kind of snaps is white people training with, motherfuckers? Like, whereas we have that as a game, so it's that's what we grow up with, and that's a certain type of understanding. And so that's one of those things where I'm like, yo, you're noticing disconnects like that, but in like average communication with people and the cause and people who want to be allies but don't know how to be allies. And it's like, well, first ally on your back and let a real fucking dark nigga hit. That'll help you out. No, I'm playing.
I ain't know that. You all on your own, bro.
No.
You go that way if you want to.
Listen, if they love every inch of us.
I seen that shit on something. You seen that shit too?
Yeah, I posted it.
Oh yeah, that's what I said.
Exactly.
Like, where I seen that shit, bro?
Exactly. Let me make my every inch joke, motherfucker. Like, damn, don't cancel me out here. I'm black. Okay, right now is not the time to cancel.
Anything else?
Right now,
you say so.
Right now is not the time to cancel a black nigga. Don't cancel that nigga cable. Don't cancel that nigga lights. It's not the time.
Black people out here getting canceled the most right now.
Yo, anybody that's whoever is saying ignorant shit in the cause, like, oh yeah, you know, or against the cause mostly, you know.
I just hate the fact that there's everybody that I like. Like, yo, when Bree Simone fucking got canceled, I was like, bro.
Yo, yeah.
Who? Bree Simone, what's her name? B Simone? I said Bree Simone.
B Simone.
From
Wildin' Out. Baby boy.
She said
that loud. Something about.
She just kind of went, not necessarily the All Lives Matter route, but she went kind of like
the religion, my Christianity doesn't allow me to. And niggas be like, bro, you be on Twitter talking about sucking dick. Like, what the fuck?
Back to that Muslim.
And then the next day, that's what she was doing, protesting.
Wow. Yeah.
Right now, this is where I leave it to God, and I leave it to, you know, the Christian in me goes, you know, what would Jesus do, and this and that and blah blah. And it's like, yo, you really don't even need to be, you know. She said, I'm not living to please man. I'm here to please God. At the end of the day, I am a Christian. I'm God fearing. I have to answer to Him. I'm going to ask myself, what would Jesus do? Not what an angry black woman would do. I am angry, but I am also trying to be godly. And niggas was like, well, we will rake you over the coals, bitch.
Like,
Can you read that first part again?
That first part?
Yeah.
I'm not living to please man.
All right.
I'm here to please God at the end of the day.
Which is a man?
No, first of all, come on. No, I'm not going to do.
What the fuck is she talking about? That's B Simone? Pack her the fuck up, bro. Pack that bitch up, bro. That bitch is wild.
First of all, God is not a man or anything, but I'm not about to distract from the message.
Nah, son. I think I got a deep voice, bro. That's a man, bro.
She said she responded with, I'll never be canceled. I'm doing my part, period. I don't need Twitter's validation, a damn app, please.
Niggas like, alright, this damn app is one that get popping.
Listen, Black Twitter will fucking take somebody out real quick. Very quickly.
Black Twitter be
like, especially if you're somebody with black fans. Like, Black Twitter can't actually take out Lana Del Rey, because most of her fans ain't fucking black. Yeah. But B Simone, they could stop her before she even wake up. All her eyelashes fall off immediately. Career gone. But like what I was saying, like some things with the protests that we felt could be more effective and not effective. Like, for instance, when we had the Blackout Tuesday. You know, Blackout Tuesday was supposed to be a statement. We saw a lot of like YouTube channels and shit taking part in it.
Blackout Tuesday was dope to me.
Was it?
Yeah.
Why you say that? I'm curious.
Seen a lot of participation. I ain't really expect. Usually niggas would just say fuck it and just go against the grain and do what they doing anyway. But a lot of niggas just.
My thing is, I don't know.
Post.
Did a lot. Blackout Tuesday is supposed to be about, you know, not spending your black dollar in order to help corporations so they understand how important the black dollar is.
That's what I see. I got a different explanation. I thought it was just a social media thing.
No, that there's been.
No, it's pretty okay. So it's a little bit of both. So it's pretty much about it's about not spending. It's about not posting your regular shit. You feel me? Like, you know how you fucking just throw up whatever.
Yeah.
You know, so it's pretty much saying, like, for creatives and artists to not, you know.
See, I never got that explanation.
That's
I got that explanation from you. I never heard nobody mention that, because there's been multiple Blackout Tuesdays in history.
Yeah.
That was originally supposed to be basically, don't go out and spend, so they understand how powerful the black dollar is, because it is mega powerful. And so it was like, you know, if you are going to spend, put it solely into black, or don't spend it all, and different shit like that. And that's kind of what I'm saying. Is like Black Tuesday, though there was a lot of participation, I noticed there was also a lot of confusion. And so some people just thought you just had to post the black image or the image of just darkness, which, you know, was supposed to be participation.
Niggas seen Paul Pierce post?
Yo,
Niggas cooked his ass.
What they do?
Oh my gosh! So Paul Pierce,
there's so much going on. You cannot keep. I know who the fuck Paul Pierce is.
Nah, we gotta make sure with you, bro. We gotta make sure with you, my nigga.
You gonna stop coming at me with this whole your friend don't know a damn thing about sports, nigga. Like, come on, nigga. If a nigga been a first stringer, I know the name.
So, like from his like analyst perspective now.
Oh boy,
he always just getting fucking clowned on.
Yo.
And his niggas, he always be saying like shit like LeBron not fucking top 5 and bugged out shit.
And LeBron not top 5.
You feel me? Like just bugged out shit. So he posted, but like he posted it and it looked like like when you fucking take your camera,
you just put your finger over that shit.
Put your finger over the screen,
and
it still looks like it's kind of like brown.
It's like red.
Yo, he posted that shit. Niggas cooked his ass.
He's like, yo, this nigga can't do shit right.
Like, you can't just find a black image, my nigga. Nigga was like, yo, how I do this shit real quick, yo.
Like, nigga, do that and then fucking flick it over to the gray.
Just turn the lights off, dog.
Some shit. Like, goddamn, nigga.
Yo. Wow. And that's the thing too, there's been a little bit of fun around this of seeing how mismanaged and sucky some people are with even like the social media, and you gotta find somewhere to laugh. A lot of the news coverage, people are only showing the looters, and then you gotta actually have somebody specifically make a piece of content that showcases that like there's way more peaceful protests going on right now. It's really not as much looting, especially after like the first 3 days.
I was very happy that a lot of the looters were starting to get exposed as being like officers and shit.
Yeah.
You feel me? Because it was like that was necessary. Because they was trying to change that narrative quick.
Yeah,
they were trying to make it seem like black people were just out here destroying.
And
shit.
they always do that every time. But when Rodney King happened to LA and all that stuff, like they always make it seem like it's a bunch of black people. And I ain't gonna act like it's not, because most of this stuff happens in black areas. So of course the people that's gonna be pissed is black people. But they act like they ain't never been a white riot a day in their fucking life. You know what I'm saying? And then they act like riot, not peaceful protest. Riot. Not the definition of go out here, break shit, and fucking steal. Are you serious? Even fucking, you go back to fucking Boston Tea Party. What you think they did? Yeah. They rolled up on that shit, picked up all the fucking tea, and poured that shit right off the boat. Like, what you like? And that's white people. Like,
yeah, about to say that was dumb.
Exactly. That was dumb.
That was dumb.
We don't even call it white. That was dumb. The ghost. So there's been a lot of people like my boy's wife. She was at a peaceful protest and she had posted it. And the way she posted it didn't look like she was at a protest. So I kind of had to ask her, like, is that a protest or is that like a? And she was like, yeah, it was a demonstration or something, this and that. And I was like, so is it a protest or well y'all like just having a movie night in the park, bitch? Like I'm trying to figure this shit out right now. And she's like, a peaceful protest, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but why are you like emphasizing peaceful? And that let me know also that based on how the media is really showing and construing and so forth, that a lot of people are getting it wrong. I talked to this older white guy yesterday. Even he was like, you could tell that he was like, I think it's the media. Like he was trying to figure out why this is still a thing, and he was like, I think it's the news. I think it's the media. Like they don't show you certain stories. They only show you the worst stories. They only show you certain things when it comes to black. And I was trying to explain to him, because I didn't want to like get too deep in the shit. I mean, he doesn't seem like a guy who's ever been racist to me. So, I ain't gonna fucking sit here and throw the whole book at your ass. But I told him like, even in Hollywood, when you look at shit like representation, which is a word I've been using lately, which I usually would almost never use, but it's true. Representation. One thing I've been having fun with, and I kind of want to play this game later on how to explain to people what white privilege is. But one of the things I said that white privilege is, or one way that you can tell that you have white privilege is that you don't grow up looking at things and wondering why you don't see something that looks like yourself. That's part of the representation. So we had a big old conversation about how the media portrays that by not, only having one black guy in the movie, or having none black guy in the movie and it be okay, or only having black movies, but the black movies are only made by other black people who happen to own black studios or some shit like that. Like we're still in that separatist time of, you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, there's Wall Street, then there's Black Wall Street. Oh, there's white water fountains, there's a black, like, even though we got rights, like we're still in that separatist time where it's like, if the black people don't really try to put the black people on, the black, you know what I'm saying? Like, you don't see them, you don't know them. You know, you could talk about a Nia Long, or you could talk about a Sanaa Lathan, or a Morris Chestnut. How many white people know who the fuck I'm talking about when I say that? You know, y'all know who I'm talking about, but those are black celebrities. You know, that's why you can have something like Black Twitter, and people still not know what the fuck is Black Twitter. Is that a separate Twitter? Like, no, it's just a bunch of black people on Twitter who go roast your ass when you come as black people. Like,
yeah, man. It's always the fucking media though. That's why when they was burning down CNN, niggas like, why they doing that? I'm like, nigga, it's CNN. Like, CNN is a piece of shit. Like, that ain't CNN, Fox News, NBC, all that shit, bro.
That
like,
ain't colored niggas network, yo.
What you mean why they burning CNN? Nigga, they the one that's spreading the false narrative since the beginning of time.
I feel like Fox is more of an enemy than
fucking you damn right with Fox.
Yeah, that Fox is king to that shit.
Fox is fucking...
Fox is triple OG to that shit.
Man, I'm so happy. Like,
yo, they posted that fucking lady, the one that told LeBron to shut up and dribble.
Yeah, because now she over here trying to defend fucking Drew Brees.
Yeah, so I'm like, you can have an opinion.
Yeah, how can he have an opinion? Why can't he shut up and throw a ball?
What was it exactly he said? Because I read an article, but it wasn't really like
what he
saying
said was
what
a
he
bunch
said.
Of bullshit. That's what the fuck he said.
I seen the rebuttal, like when he tried to clean it up, but I don't know what he originally said.
Man, what he originally said was some bullshit that was trying to say that when he sees people, when he sees the flag and what it represents, he sees an opportunity for all of us to come together and be unified and this and that, blah blah. Basically, he showed you the rose-colored glasses of what white privilege is. Like, you can look at the flag and see unity. We look at the flag and see where the fuck are we at. We don't see shit. We see being lost. We go, hey, wasn't there a black national flag at one point? Like, we see a loss of identity, and that's where you don't get it. And then I guess they also said, while I'm looking for the comment, they also said that he was kneeling at one point. He was kneeling at one point when Kaepernick was kneeling. So people was like, well, then what the fuck was that for? If you was kneeling and shit, like, but you didn't understand what it was about, now you're talking about it's back to disrespecting the flag, which is kind of nuts how now Black Lives Matter is coming full circle from 3 years ago. Because cats are like, y'all still going back now to the Kaepernick shit, and y'all still don't get it, no matter how much somebody told you, the reason I'm doing this is to represent this, and y'all like, nope, disrespect the flag. Like, you have to just see it how you see it, so you don't have to open your eyes to the shit.
Exactly. Like, what the fuck is a flag, my nigga? Piece of cloth.
Like, pretty much.
I mean, I can't say that because if that's the case, I mean, all around the world, flags mean something. But
specifically the American flag. Yeah, like, fuck is an American flag?
To black people, hell yeah, man. Like, what the fuck? Like, you know. See, right now, all you're seeing is Drew Brees' apology and shit. Like, Google, don't be on that side,
not apology, man.
Yeah, fuck that shit. Pack Drew Brees the fuck up.
Now they saying that he making a second apology for kneeling.
Nah, he did.
Like, nigga,
he did.
Second apology.
He was like, look me in my eyes so you can see how sorry I am. I was like, nigga,
no
shut
bitch.
that shit. You know how many niggas use that shit when they cheat?
Exactly.
Look me in my eyes.
Yo, see,
I'm sorry.
Yo, straight up, I'd have had that happen. And it was like, yo, I'm looking in your eyes and I'm telling you this and I'm telling you that. And I like, first of all, I'd have seen TV, I'd have watched the show Lie to Me before. I already know that when people lie to you, a lot of people will look you dead in your eye because they want to see if you are believing the lie. Whereas a lot of people who are being truthful may look you in the eyes, but they won't look at you directly hard, and they usually will blink. A lot of people trying to see if you believe them will look you dead in your eyes, and they will not fucking blink. And those same people that been caught on fucking lies, the fuck, nigga, they coming to get us right now, nigga, fucking lock the door. And so I was like, I look for stuff like that. Yo, go watch that show. If you really want to like pick up on stuff like, do people lie, do people not lie? Like, go watch that show for like the first season. They break down so many little things you can see in lies, and then they show you pictures of people throughout history doing the same body movement. Like, oh, like they got doubt, so they scratch their head or something, and then they'll show you like fucking J.F. Kennedy when he's scratching his head. You know, at a moment when you knew he was lying and this and that, and they'll show you mad pictures side by side. Like, oh, you damn right, people do that body language. Yo, I'm about to catch these hoes, yo. Like, yo. So yeah, niggas is damn, lost the internet, nigga. Man, I already told him this ain't the time to be cutting the black nigga shit off. Y'all out here tripping right now. So yeah, it's a very interesting time. Finding out, just how divided, even with the, at this point I feel like I gotta just partition shit because it's everything is loaded. So, like, finding out how divided even Hispanic culture is from black culture, which, I think most of it comes from like the whole New York, how most of us are blended together and shit.
Nah.
You don't think so?
Nope. I got the backstory from a Spanish chick.
Dun dun.
It's pretty much like I've been saying, the segregation in Puerto Rico. When fucking they had the
Puerto Rico is pretty much segregated as it is right now.
Yeah, but so
Old San Juan and San Juan.
Darker people on one side, you feel me? That type of shit.
That's like Haiti and DR, right?
Yeah, I believe so. Yep.
Well, yeah, that's why a lot of Puerto Ricans don't want to be called Dominican, and vice versa, and
all that shit stems from there. They just pretty much came over here. That's why, like, if you notice, a lot of the fucking racist Spanish people are older, just like it is with white people for the most part. You feel me? Like,
She brought over a chocolate chip or whatever.
Yeah, like I had a homie literally like break everything down from like how that shit is over there.
Man, where's she at, man? We got a fourth part.
Because like she was fucking. It's the chick that I told you about that was protesting.
Yeah,
and her father was in the comments talking shit.
Yeah.
So like she pretty much gave me the breakdown of like all that.
Yeah, man. I feel, and the thing is, it's so loaded. Like you don't want the podcast to become like I don't give a damn. Like this whole episode could be Black Lives Matter. I'm good on that. But like you don't want it to be like 18 episodes Black Lives Matter and shit. But it's so loaded.
And
it's like
where the culture takes you. If they still
well, Black Lives not worth 18 episodes
later, and this shit's still fucking rocking and rocking.
I mean, I like to think that there's. Is it possible to have an open perspective on this shit if you fucking black and already on the inside? Like, can you say you have an open perspective on Black Lives Matter? And on the inside, is that, and you black? Or can you only be like another race and be like, but I have an open perspective on it? And is saying I have an open perspective offensive to the whole thing in the first place?
What do you mean by an open?
Like there's some people who are just like, I'm not saying I got a problem and damn, no, that's a big ass spider, my nigga. Like, god damn, nigga.
Where?
Right there. The nigga moved too. I was like, I thought you wouldn't go move, nigga. I'm watching this nigga this whole time. yo, why we always seeing spiders on the podcast in the middle of nowhere? I'm like, yo, what's that? Is that a spider, nigga? Open perspective. Some people I feel like I see of other races, they're just trying to see if there's because there's some people I'm noticing like they're not racist, but they also don't have the full education. And so I think that they, by saying open perspective, means that they're open to learn more about why they should see the seriousness or the intensity, or you get what I'm saying? But to be able to say like open perspective, can you say that and not be of another race? Or rather, do you have to only be of another race to say you have an open perspective on BLM?
I feel like if you're educated, then you should be able to have an open perspective. Like, if you...
But is it open or is it just educated at that point?
Yeah, it's open. Like, if you could be open-minded about certain other shit, then you could be open-minded about this specific topic. Why not?
Okay, I hear that.
I feel like that's just evading hearing what you need to hear at that point. Trying to play that card, like, is it open perspective? If it's this and that, like da 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 da. I feel like if you feel like you got an open perspective on it, then you got open perspective on it.
All right. Do y'all feel like, because now that we I kind of knew a little bit with the whole Hispanic racism shit, but you hear mostly from their parents, not necessarily like people we've been hanging with, but you hear more from their parents. Like, it seems like
the only issue I've had with like the people that I've hung with, and I've told them is mainly like that are like Spanish, is that you could tell that they really have no idea of like how serious it is because they aren't in those particular shoes at this moment.
I feel like a lot of it comes from pressure around black people, if that makes sense. Like we had me and Joe had a brief conversation about this before, where we was like, you notice they date us, but you don't see a lot of us get married to them. And I feel like that pressure comes from their parents or their dad or so forth, so on.
Yep, my homie said that her family said shit like, you feel me? Like, oh, I mean, you go play with them, but like, don't bring one home.
Yep, don't bring them to me.
Yep.
I don't even know what they.
Shit's bugged out. Like, it's bugged out to think about, cause like a lot of my life, I've been fucking like crazy over Spanish.
Right. You've been sitting over here like, yo, that's Spanish rice, yo.
Like, and then you realize that, like, all right.
Shoot, I used to have a
my dick good enough, but you don't want anything more?
I would like to disclaimer that I'm perfectly fine with my dick being good enough in certain capacities. So if y'all need just to play one, you can call me at 1-800 just to play. But nah, that's disheartening though, because like you definitely end up like you said, you crazy for something or whatever like that. It's not the only type you like, but it's like, damn, you telling me that like. And the thing is, they don't tell you. You dealing with them, you having a good time. So you don't know, like, oh, this doesn't go further or this isn't going further because fucking dad, who's fucking senile at home on his last leg, is still talking shit for the past fucking 5 years. And they just wait. And I know somebody who is dating somebody of another race. He's white, she's black, and they dated for like 2 years, but he never really like penetrated certain like areas of like, yo, by now I should have met this person, I should have met that person, I should have this and that, yada yada. And then fucking after the dad died, it's like within like, and they reconnected fucking within like a week of dating. It's like, oh, me, my mom, and my sister now, like, and you find out like, oh, it was just dad who was just like, nah, fuck that shit, yo, like, and those are the layers that are even more intense. I saw somebody post earlier today, and she was talking about how critically her dad is racist. Like, he's racist right the fuck now. Like,
like the beautiful thing about
racist.
Like the beautiful thing about all of this is that like a lot of people are willing to fucking like go that much far against their parents. To like really fight for this shit.
That is part of the beautiful thing. Like you're seeing people be like, "No, you're wrong." Like, fuck you, dad.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because without getting that anger and that conviction, you'll be like, "Well, I never had a problem in the first place." But once you get that conviction in you, it lets you know, like later on in life, potentially, there's certain shit you won't allow. You won't let this happen. You won't let that happen. You'll be able to see it better because you've grounded yourself emotionally enough in it to allow yourself to be open to that. So yeah, no, you're absolutely 1000% correct. That is part of the beautiful thing, is that the people who already weren't racist are still getting more educated. They're like, I didn't know, but I thought a little bit, but I didn't know like this. And there's a lot of history behind it. Like it's like they sit there and they go, what is like I was watching a video the other day, very young white girl, she was younger than her parents, and the dad was like, but there's a lot of successful and there's a lot of successful black people and so forth and so on. And you can see his barometer was based on whether or not they could be successful. If you feel like they are actually being marginalized, not realizing that is like, yo, it's not just because there's a Jay-Z or because there has been an Obama or because there has been, because there's a fucking LeBron. Like, even look at what they're successful for. When you think of a successful black person, you pretty much only think of music and sports, entertainment. You don't actually always think of Obama. Why? Because he is the smallest speckle of pepper in a deep sea of salt. You don't think of, see, there you go. You have to start trying after. If you're gonna take out all entertainment, now name me successful black people, you start to struggle a little bit. You might name a famous black person. Could you say Martin Luther King was successful? Most of the time when we're talking success, we're talking money, we're talking profession. If that was the case, then no, he wasn't successful. He was famous. And there's a difference.
Yeah, to that standard, I would say. Yeah, you can say that.
So I think that was part of why you kind of had to defend in a certain type of way, in a certain type of light, so forth, so on. What else have we learned? We've learned, the divide in Hispanics. We've been seeing certain people actually make divides, and certain allies just be like, yo, I've been clearing out my friends list, and it's like, that's nice to see. It'd be cool if you wrote all these motherfuckers a personal letter like why I deleted you, give them the 13 reasons why.
It's so funny because it's the same motherfuckers that openly say like nigga more than me probably when they speak, and they just not with the shits like.
I've been getting rid of bitches.
Fuck?
Like if you haven't spoken to this point, it's pretty much a wrap.
My thing is like, yo,
because if you still posting selfies and you acting like life is fucking happy-go-lucky, and you ain't say nothing yet, it's a wrap.
So you think, but how would you even fully evaluate if somebody says something other than going one for one and looking at what they maybe post or don't
all
post?
The fuck I need.
It's just go on the page or some shit or see. Like, damn, I ain't seen if they said something. Do a quick scope.
Especially if you active. If all you do is be on your phone, like you ain't say nothing about it. Not even take like 2 minutes, 2 seconds, whatever the fuck.
Because that's where the power is right now. It's within social media. Like niggas really got that fucking what's it, the Breonna Taylor shit? They really got that case open back up. That's just social media, just fucking
yeah.
You feel me?
Social media's definitely been.
So it's like, absolutely. If you haven't said anything on social media right now,
shit is so real. Niggas even got like Anonymous back in their bag out here exposing shit.
Anonymous comes to the rescue or some shit. You like, oh, this gonna go for at least.
That shit was like episode of Money Heist when I first saw that video. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, like the professor, that's you.
Anonymous be doing shit just to do it too. You can tell they don't do it for no money or nothing. They just like, yo.
Like you said, I bet.
Anonymous really make you want to be a hacker because Anonymous come to you like on some real secret low key shit. Just walk up and you on a coffee shop like, so I seen what you been doing online. Huh? What the fuck is this? Meet me at Martha Hart Park. You're like, yo, what? Like, yeah. So white privilege, that seems to be the biggest hurdle because the misunderstanding behind white privilege is what causes you to have to explain Black Lives Matter to people. It's what causes you to have an ally who still needs to be further educated. It's what makes it so that somebody could still be on your side and then not know how much they are still not on your side. It seems to be the wall that you have to either put holes through or just straight up, hopefully, shatter. I feel like, honestly, when you break the wall of white privilege to somebody who has white privilege, they should just be on the ground fucking crying at how much it's like, how did I not fucking see this? Like, to me, I feel like that's how bad of a realization it should be. That you're just like, I missed this? Because that's what it is. It's being blind. Yeah. It's So we've been coming up with a lot of different ways. Somebody said, and then there's also been a lot of explanations on All Lives Matter. Somebody said that All Lives Matter is like if your house is on fire on the street and the firemen come and they say, now spray all the houses in the neighborhood, even though it's your house that's on the fucking street. Like,
your house still there fucking burning.
Exactly. Just, okay, cool, One of the best examples I saw was a meme where it said all lives matter is like if you lost your child and you were at a funeral and you were up there giving the eulogy and somebody walked up right after you were telling people how much you loved your child and how special your child was, and right after or right in the middle of you talking about your child, somebody grabbed the mic and was like, all children are special.
Get the fuck out.
My nigga rolled. What?
I'm gonna roll that bitch. We'll have another funeral here, nigga.
I read that and that shit hit me like, yeah. Like, I don't know.
Yo, that's the thing.
Simple.
Yo, it's so fucking simple. Like, niggas just keep putting out these blatantly obvious fucking quotes. Like, yo, this is what it means.
Shit killed me.
And they're like, but, nigga, this is what it means. But.
I forgot who got killed, and they tried. It was like 2-3 years ago, and maybe it's when like Black Lives Matter first started up, and afterwards they started trying to make like separate shit. Like they started trying to hit niggas with the Blue Lives Matter and shit, and fucking like Gay Lives Matter and all that shit. Like try to make separate shit just because we said Black Lives Matter. We try to make it seem like we trying to be like, oh, only Black Lives Matter in this world. Like, no, nigga, like That's just your conscience talking, nigga. That's like, how you think.
Who the fuck told you that?
they fucking conscious, bro. That's how they feel inside. They's like, oh shit.
If it's not about me, then what?
Yeah, like,
why don't I matter?
Who the fuck told you?
I just say everything about you, nigga.
You
like,
don't think nobody?
Everything got to be about you.
Like, you don't think nobody will put the word only there? If that
No,
was the
exactly.
Case? You know what I'm saying?
Niggas don't want that smoke because niggas don't take it there.
Niggas don't pay attention to context.
Bro,
it shows.
You already know we unfiltered over here, so you know.
Cause I'm saying like in general, like if y'all niggas want to make this shit only Black Lives Matter, then we can make this shit only Black Lives Matter. Nigga, like the fuck. Cause y'all niggas clearly don't fucking get the simple shit. Man, so like
here, like we gonna roll up like some desperados. You
know? That ass bring the whole motherfucking FOI. Where my nigga Farrakhan at?
Facts, y'all niggas seen the Django. And I'm pulling up on a horse just to make it real.
Yo, did you see that video of the fucking all the black cowboys? In like Texas or some shit? They all pulled up in horses. That shit was wild.
Yo, nah, I gotta see that shit.
Yeah, bro, it was like fucking like 30 of them all on horses.
That's kind of scary, bro.
Yo, because the original cowboy is black.
Yeah, niggas forget that.
Yo,
yeah.
like,
I mean, come on, man.
Because white people take everything.
Everything, bro.
What is truly originated by white people other than racism and potato salad? Like what?
Racism.
What exactly? Racism is
they created all the bad shit that's wrong with the world.
Pillaging, like they say we rioting, but like who the hell threw in the rape in the middle of rape and pillaging?
Green bean casserole. Shit like that.
Hold on, don't sleep though. Green bean casserole.
It depends on make it.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? I ain't
a black person make it, sure.
What the thing? But you know what? That's
they just be straight up green beans.
We use all the like the canned stuff that got some salt in it.
Yeah.
I had an ex make like green bean casserole, but it was like fresh green bean casserole. Ain't no canned nothing. And I was like, I don't like this. She's like, it's fresh. Everything is fresh. Like the onions are fresh. I made them. This is fresh. And I was like, nah, bitch, give me the cancer cans. Yo, I'm walking. Like,
the cancer cans.
Yo, give me this shit. Yo, you to fuck this all up, yo. Black cowboys, the real settlers of the wild, wild west. Literally, all I typed in was black cowboys. Yep. You know, so that'll let you know right now that, and this is from fucking 2018. So that somebody been out here. Like, know your damn research. What's some other good analogies for white privilege you guys are, or even, you know, explaining the difference of what all lives matter is like you saying that you guys have seen, you know.
See, I see and scroll, so I don't really save them.
I don't save them. I just when they hit me a certain way, I remember them.
So I honestly wouldn't know.
Like my explanation was, somebody else said, you know, it's a privilege. White privilege is the privilege to have to learn about white privilege.
Say that again?
White privilege is the privilege to have to learn about white privilege rather than seeing it your whole lives.
I don't get it.
I'm trying to piece it together.
When somebody when I say white privilege, do I have to explain to you what it is?
No.
When I say white privilege, do I have to explain to you what it is?
Oh, white privilege is the privilege
of having
to learn about it.
Exactly. It is. Okay. If you have to learn about white privilege, I get you. You have it.
Okay.
Maybe I didn't say it the right way. I'm trying to pull these quotes out, but I might be adding the word and taking one away. Goddamn, and I might be fucking up the power. But I got you. You get what I'm saying? If you have to learn about white privilege, you probably have it. I told somebody basically like white privilege, or is basically like, or rather like the learning of white privilege to me is like understanding that if you take like race out of it and you just made it like countries, like America would be white because we are a first world country. Because a third world country would not call itself a third world fucking country. Yeah. For white people or for even Americans to learn how bad it is in a third world country, we would have to go to said third world country to see the little kid shitting in the water right before he drinks it or some bullshit, before we saw and realized how bad it was. Because we have privilege as Americans to be able to shit in clean water. Yeah. And that not be the shit that we drink. We could drink our toilet water right now as long as we don't shit in it first. And that is not the privilege many other people around the world have. And that's the difference of white privilege, is that white privilege is like having to go to Africa to learn how bad it is in Africa. Except for right now, there is no Africa. So I could just tell you about it. You just gotta believe me. Or you gotta see some terrible shit in front of you.
Yeah.
You know, like, it seems like sometimes the only way for them to justify what they have to learn solely comes from, like, you would have needed to see the racism as blatant as it was back when we had coloreds only fountains, whites only fountains. See a cop beat my ass and call me a nigger, and then they go, oh shit, racism is still, you know. And some people still will be like, wow, why was that guy so backwards? And it's like, you think he's the only one? What do you mean he wasn't the only one? Like, that is white privilege. White privilege is the ability to be ignorant about a whole nother world that's out there.
Yeah.
Sidebar, I'll be so cool with that colors only shit right now. Like, I swear to God, bro. Like, whites only, like, yeah, stay over there, bro. Yeah.
Yo, yeah. Yo, under the circumstances that we live now, like, yeah. Well, as long as it's not promoted as fucking, you know, like slavery and whatever the fuck. Yeah. Like, yo, if we had our own shit and they had their own shit, I think that would be great.
Well, I think, honestly, and
I think we would take more pride if we had our own shit, too.
I've been thinking about that more since Black Lives Matter became a thing, a couple years ago. And that was one of the things that was happening was, us having Black Wall Street and so forth. And that was also one of the things that Martin Luther King actually was against. It wasn't that he was against us having our own enterprise, but he was like, for him, he wanted full integration. Yeah. That's what he was preaching. It wasn't about, okay, we could be black and just make our own economy and then be separate within the country. He was like, no, this is not okay. Everybody be accepted. And at the same time, that was part of like Malcolm X's kind of thing. He was like, nah, nigga, separate that shit. Like, and now that we're looking at it more, and you're not just thinking about how they wouldn't let us get loans for fucking 15 years. They wouldn't let us, they stepped on our necks and so forth and so on. And still, to this day, the only reason I think I can get a loan is because they done took all that shit out and just made it an algorithm. Like, it's just like, yo, nigga, you don't make enough and you ain't had your job long enough. Like, oh, okay. I've been thinking about that lately too, and I'm like, I don't know if I want colors only fucking fountains, my nigga. That's a little bit too far for me.
Why the fuck not?
Nigga, what? Nigga, that's an easy way to just fucking... That was the easiest way for them to just straight up put lead in a nigga's fucking water and to fucking kill black
people. What you mean, nigga? Only black people situating that fountain.
Nah, bro.
That's what I'm talking about. I'm like
going back to Jim Crow, my nigga.
Some straight up.
Not that, my nigga.
It's Jim Crow.
I'm talking about a Black Wall Street type shit. Like, we over here, they over there. Like, not no slavery shit. Like, we handle our own shit. We do our own shit. Y'all do your own shit. Y'all handle your own shit.
But at that point, that's still kind of like just black.
We got our own cops. We got our own fucking
like we got our own shit.
We got our own fucking all that shit.
Cool.
I don't know. It's
basically gonna be like fucking Egypt again, nigga.
Yeah. I think that invites a better, a different kind of conversation as far as how far do you separate it then at that point. Because I don't know if I agree with the whole having our own cops. I mean, I think police should be able to be universal police. They should just be. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that police should have enough restraints there,
but they don't. So,
but they don't.
I think it doesn't matter because they don't.
But is it?
So give us our own cops who understand how we fucking work.
But is it not easy to just make sure the cops know that they will be in trouble for the same shit that we know will be in trouble, which is why we don't break the law?
Clearly not, because it ain't.
But that's what I'm saying. Make sure that they have statute where we.
If we have our own cops, we don't have to worry about that.
You sure?
Yo, I can almost guarantee. Yo, if we have our own cops. Literally black cops who fucking might have grew up in the town or in the area or wherever the fuck.
Yeah, but you can't guarantee that he gonna be grown up from the area. He just be black.
Yo, but you will have way less of a fucking rift.
Maybe
if white cops were handling white people and fucking black cops were handling black people.
But then you're still talking about one of the races that has probably the biggest amount of self-hate in it. So are we certain that having only black cops police black people is somehow the end-all be-all solution?
I think it would help a lot.
You gonna tell me there ain't gonna be no Uncle Ruckus ass cops?
It's not the end all be all, but it plays a part. Like,
I mean, I think it would assist, but
because at the end of the day, you see how these white officers are.
I think it would assist, but at that point, that means we need just more official and stricter statutes on the cops, as well as having more cultural cops, so that there wasn't such a divide between the cops and the people. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you had more black cops, and I've had a black cop call on me before, and then next thing you know, fucking 9 cruisers pull up and they treat me like I'm Denzel Washington at the end of fucking training day. So, you know, and then I've also had it where there's 7 cops around me, I'm telling my story, and the black one is the only one who really seems, you know, like he's listening, but he looks like, you know, his hands are tied and he can't do much, you know, at that moment.
That's
so
that's the point.
He raised by white.
Yeah, but that's kind of the point.
Yeah, Uncle Tom ass
Like,
nigga. He raised by white people in the fucking academy. Like,
but you feel me? Imagine now if that one officer was leading the whole pack.
And then at the same time, I mentioned something like that, and you know, my sister works in the prison system, and she was saying that basically, you know, which we already kind of know, is that they kind of teach them to assimilate, much like the army or anything else. Like, you're not black anymore, you're blue. You're not this anymore, you're blue. So that's why I'm like, okay, I understand why that assimilation is a thing, because, you know, that's what happens a lot of times when you put on any uniform, fucking, you know. But if you have stricted, like, one reason why a lot of cops still do the shit they do is because they have no identity, you know, like, no sense of, if I do this, I'm getting in trouble. If anything, they have way more examples of, if I do this, I'm probably going to be able to rape myself out of it. Yeah. Same way that with the George Floyd thing, they tried to say that he just had pre-existing medical conditions that happen to just flare up in the middle of arrest.
Man, they trying to throw everything on that nigga.
And we've seen, then they said, he had corona. He had corona in April, nigga. That ain't got shit to do with you talking about his neck in May, my nigga.
Them niggas out here trying to change that narrative.
You know, so that's what I'm saying.
They said, wait, but he had COVID.
Yeah, he's trying their hardest right now.
Nigga, so
it couldn't have been. It's like, the autopsy already came out, and they had a private autopsy. The autopsy already said, like, between 3 niggas standing on your fucking back and fucking compressing your esophagus, like, yeah, that'll do it to you. And they like I said, they've already shown that. So, but my thing is, if they had more example to see and to know that they needed to handle themselves differently, that the police knew that they were being policed in a certain way, would that not also be a major difference? Because right now, like, every time we see a black killing, the police report is a lie. Like, police reports might as well be the biggest bullshit in the world. It'll either say nothing or,
See, my thing is, I don't get how they don't fucking understand that there's cameras rolling everywhere.
I don't get it either.
Because them niggas act like them niggas just fucking act like there ain't shit
to fucking dime you out.
Like, bro, like, y'all niggas, I don't fucking get it. Like, but that's how unfucking touchable they feel that they are.
Yeah.
And that shit don't make no sense. Like, bro, like, you were being watched at all times, especially now that you're a white cop. The niggas, we had our eyes on you for years now.
You know, one of the worst things that sickens me when I look at the George Floyd video ain't even just watching how he was passing away. It's the fact that the cop looked like
nonchalant.
Mind you, do you know how much
hands in his pockets?
Yep.
Face didn't give a fuck.
Had no explanation for nothing. It was like he was just like when you see somebody doing planks for way too long and you like, damn, they at peace. Like, this nigga was just there. He was just there. I'm like, do you know how much energy it takes to stay in that position for as long as he stayed in that position?
What they say, 8 minutes?
9 minutes, bro.
Yeah, 8 minutes.
Dog, George Floyd was literally sitting there saying, my stomach hurt, nose started bleeding, calling for his mama, telling you killing me, they gonna kill me, y'all, you killing me, they gonna kill me, y'all, you killing me. Then, after, mind you, he was already handcuffed and had 2 cops on his back. So clearly you've apprehended.
Oh, so that he wasn't the only one on him?
Because
I ain't watched the video yet.
Nah, it was.
Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna watch.
Nigga on his neck, and it was
2
more on his back, and then there was one watching.
So they were also putting pressure on the rest of his body as well as on his neck directly. You should watch the video. It seems like something you don't want to watch, but you don't understand the gravitas. And that's what I've been telling some people. Like, some people who aren't fully behind what's happening now aren't understanding, like, these killings have been much more brutal than that. Down south, there have been people just like a week before that. Black guy running in his own neighborhood. 2 guys who don't even live there, like, oh, he looks shady. Load up their shotguns, go down the street in a pickup, and shoot him. Cops don't.
And now they're saying that they fucking called him nigger after.
Yeah,
like,
and the cops didn't even. The cops knew about it, and they're on tape. Cops didn't even arrest the guys until the tape went viral days later.
Sounds about right.
You know what I'm saying? Down south, there's plenty of stories you got of somebody picking up a random dude, hitching him to the truck and just dragging him.
Yeah, lynching is still a thing.
It's very much still a fucking thing. Like, you definitely still have that. And that's what I'm saying is that I tell people, anybody who wants to understand what's happening or why the outrage is because the George Floyd thing isn't about George Floyd. It's about the fact that these killings happen like this and they happen worse. And it's the fact that it don't take you longer than another week or another day for you to find out about another unrightful, idiotic, dumb killing. And when you're like, well, yeah, but they kill more white people than black people statistically. Yeah, but you also see statistically more incidents of white guy was going off of bath salts but somehow was apprehended. But black guy was just standing on the corner and somehow got killed. Black little kid who was 7 years old is on the fucking...
Man, all you gotta say is, what was his name? Dylan Roof? Dylan Ruff?
Yeah, exactly. Dylan, whatever the fuck his name is, because I really don't be trying to promote these fucking killers.
Nigga fucking shot up the church.
And got taken to Burger King before he got to go to fucking jail.
Like, come on.
By the cops. You know what I'm saying? You want to see white privilege? That's white fucking privilege. You want to see white ignorance amongst white privilege? That's fucking white privilege.
That's what I'm saying. Like, we gotta start matching. We gotta start matching the energy. Like, same way they look out for their own, we gotta look out for ours. That's the thing, though. That's why I brought up the whole colors only shit. Like,
what it would take for us to do that is the same thing. Like, for instance, if you were to take every black athlete or every black athlete and entertainer, then maybe it would be a lot easier. But what it would take you to do that, the capital, when you talk money to do that, would take that much. You'd have to take so many black people who had the money, basically ask them to take their net worth, cut that shit in half, and then be like, we putting it all towards this, and then actually do it. And that's just saying that, you could tell that's a massive fucking hurdle to fucking do. It would have been easier back when we first was building it and stuff. But even Black Wall Street, we were forming that in multiple different cities. And the biggest city, the most popular, city in Tulsa and stuff, they came through Tulsa and literally burned down the entire city, destroying Black Wall Street and most of its stuff damn near overnight. Like, there's so much that happened. We had Martin Luther King as a big leader. They killed him. Next thing you know, there was nobody that anybody could genuinely fully follow the same way, so forth and so on. So they know it's easy to cut off the head of certain things and go, yeah, the rest of the body will follow, no matter if it twitch for a while. It's dead. They use all their smarts when it comes to racism. Period. If they want to do, this is how they'll act if we do this. This is how they'll be. Just like you see the pandemic scientists right now telling you exactly what's going to happen with COVID because of this and that will happen. Like right now, COVID's had a spike in cases. Now, people are like, oh, that's because of the protests, this and that. Except for COVID has a 14-day gestation period. We only been doing this for a week. So this didn't come from no fucking protest. What it really came from was the government, the states starting to open up early, open up prematurely, so people are starting to be leaving their houses and so forth. That's what's coming. We're not going to see the results of what has spread from protests when a lot of people have been protesting with masks on still, even though that's really just to protect you from spreading, not, you from getting it. We're not going to see that for at least another 10 to 14 days, another week or two. But people will have you thinking it's from the protests. And then at the same time,
it's all fucking media manipulation, bro.
Exactly.
I say that shit all the time, man.
And lack of education, this period.
Yeah, but I mean, the only niggas they fooling with that shit are them fucking old washed people who still watch the news and whatever.
Listen, the white people. I mean, not the white people. The old people.
Those the only niggas.
Don't matter what race it is. Old people. God damn it! When you say stuck in your ways, stuck in your ways.
Those the only niggas they fooling with that shit. I read them shits, and just laugh and be like, yo, y'all niggas. And then I'll share it and see who's fucking actually believing the shit. And I'll be like, alright. And I delete it. and I go on about my shit because it's just like, yo, like, it's a fucking.
That's another thing that I was speaking with my sister about earlier. You sent me the was it Pop Socket was doing the whole I can't breathe thing, and we talked about this and said, she was like, I wish they used a different phrase, and I said, why? And she was just like, well, one, I can't breathe in some way kind of incites a certain type of reaction, but also it constricts it. It constricts it to a smaller scope. And I kind of understood what she was saying because first, I Can't Breathe came from Eric Garner.
Yep.
But people right now are treating it like it came from George Floyd, even though they both apply. Both were illegal choking maneuvers.
No, I just think it fit, so they brought it back.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I agree with that. But I think that one thing is it's almost like taking one situation and just applying it to another, and I think it fit and I think it was fine, but I would have preferred if the Pop Socket just said Black Lives Matter on it, just to bring the scope, because one of the issues that we're having now and what we're starting to see a lot of the white politicians so far do is, or even not even just white politicians, but we're seeing the people who are trying to be against the movement or ignorant about the movement is like, oh, we're protesting, is it going to bring George Floyd back? George Floyd was not a celebrity.
So fuck yo.
No shit.
George Floyd, nobody knows.
Niggas really out here trying to just start getting swung on, bro.
But I've seen that argument plenty of times from a bunch of people saying dumb stuff, and it's like, this isn't about George Floyd. So I've seen them go, if we can't stop it, if we can't stop the protests, if we can't stop the riots, let's try to make it smaller. So now let's see if we can make it more about George Floyd, then it becomes more about convicting those cops, and then once those cops are done, then it's all over. So when you say I can't breathe, you make it a little bit more about George Floyd because of that. Same thing, like I've been seeing some really great peaceful protests where people will get down in the same position of George Floyd, and they'll just all be like, I can't breathe, I can't breathe, I can't breathe.
Niggas, that shit dead on the highway.
Yeah, and though I support any form of protest, especially when you're trying to say Black Lives Matter, but the thing is, when you do that, you're kind of almost allowing that marginalization of them kind of making it more about George Floyd, not the bigger point. And that's kind of what they're starting to want, is like, fine, if we can't get rid of Black Lives Matter, we'll shorten the scope of it to be about the guy that everybody's pissed about right now, so that it's like, if we just solve that case, then it's all gone. You get what I'm saying?
People past that shit, bro.
I think
if people weren't past that the fucking oh my god, I keep forgetting her name. The Breonna Taylor shit wouldn't come back.
Breonna Taylor.
That's her name.
Who's Breonna Taylor again?
The late she got shot in her house.
The cop who actually got convicted. Yeah. No.
Nigga, Breonna Taylor's the lady that got shot in the house. She was was she a Marine?
Oh, okay, I know what you're talking about. The reason why I'm confused is because that's happened 3 times in the past 2 years, where black people were just chilling in their fucking house and somehow a cop busted.
And then her boyfriend
like had got state house and shit.
Her boyfriend had got arrested.
Because that happened in Texas. A white police officer, this lady, she lived in the same complex as this dude. Black dude just sitting there on his couch watching TV, and she busted into the apartment, opened up fire. They said they still don't know if they had anything to do with each other, if they had any association with each other. As far as everything goes, they didn't know each other worth a damn. So somehow she just fucking did this shit, and the nigga just lived in her building. They don't even know what happened.
Nigga living in a building, you never seen that nigga.
They said that,
bringing in groceries or nothing.
But they said like they had no friendship. It wasn't like she was sleeping with him and he cheated on her. Or like there was no insight and type of relationship that was like, why did you kill him?
She was white, right?
Yeah.
I bet you white. You know who the fuck is in your building, my nigga. White people know who the fuck is in they area. Niggas nosy as hell. I want to hear that. I don't know this nigga shit. You know who the fuck you shot, nigga.
Dog, yes they are. Oh my goodness. The first people, dead ass, like
fuck out of here. You know who it is before they move in.
Like hanging where we hanging right now. The first people that I end up seeing, whenever anything started to go down or argument outside or something like that, the white people were the first ones out there.
Exactly.
You would think it's the black people, but the white people were the first ones out there, and they the ones that call.
Behind the blondes, like.
It'd be the one that be doing all the stuff. Like,
swear to God.
I done left my 1-year-old in the house by themselves, but I'm gonna call DCF on your ass. Like, wait, what? But yeah, I've been having a lot of conversations about that too, as far as how do we keep the message strong. Blackout Tuesday was cool and all, but at the same time, Blackout Tuesday made me worry something just because of the whole fucking, if it wasn't for certain people to start bringing up like, yo, they're blacking out the feed, stop, like, don't participate in a certain type of way, then hell no, like that shit wouldn't have worked out how it was working out. Like somebody caught that shit early as hell. Like I know Chance the Rapper brought that up. A couple celebrities brought it up. Like, you know, don't do it this way or don't tie it to the. And I was happy for the participation, but like I said, with all the confusion.
Yeah, somebody should have, like, I don't know, made it clearer.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so it made it hard for me to participate because I was like, yo, all right. Like, specifically, I was like, yo, I'm trying to buy a laptop this day. And I'm like, you know, I was trying to process that shit like on Monday night. And like, that shit wasn't working for a nigga. I was like, I gotta wait for the morning, but niggas telling me I can't spend no bread. But then I was like, where they saying that at? Like, is we a monolith right now or nah? Because like, I ain't trying to really wait 24 hours. But you know, I'm trying to be down for the cause. And so I was going through like that battle. And so I was like, I know this shit ain't clear. Then I started seeing on YouTube, a lot of YouTube channels were just uploading. Like one YouTube channel just wrote in their description, but they uploaded like 8 minutes and 47 seconds of a black video. And they didn't explain it, but I think they did that for the length of time that George Floyd was, you know, being suffocated. Also, what I was telling you earlier, one of the sickest parts of that video, aside from him being so calm, is that George Floyd, one, had 3 cops on him, was clearly handcuffed, and was apprehended. But even after he stopped being responsive, stopped talking, was completely limp, not moving, nothing, which meant he was dead. And they're just begging him, like, yo, like, check his pulse, dog. Like, check his pulse. The cop still was on him, in his neck, 4 minutes after this man is clearly dead. And did not get off until the EMTs came. And so that's why I keep telling people, like, a lot of people say, like, you know, I haven't seen it, but I don't know if I'm going to see it. And I'm like, you almost have to. Because even hearing it is just like, I seen the video once. And the thing is, I didn't even see the full video. I watched it. I was watching Philip DeFranco, the best news on YouTube. That's what I'm going to say. I hate that plug. I've been watching that nigga like 10 years. But he likes to keep it real honest. But he showed you the parts that you needed to see and in good. And the thing is, he don't never show stuff that graphic. He'll tell you about it. He never shows stuff that graphic. But just seeing it for the 15 seconds of, he got off his neck, they moved his body, and seeing how his body was, seeing that there was blood around his nose from the fact that, you know, suffocation basically stops the blood from going to your brain, different things like that. Seeing it, you're just like, you can see the gravity of what happened, how it happened. And it's like, it doesn't sit with you as long as it's supposed to sit with you unless you see it. Like, you understand Black Lives Matter. You a black man. You don't understand why you would also tell people you need to see this for it to imprint on them until you saw it, right? Yeah, it imprints on you when you watch it enough for you to go, as much as I might see a person like the older white guy that I had a conversation with yesterday, I was like, do I want to have this conversation right now? Like, do I want to get into this conversation? And then at the same time, I was like, he started the conversation, so it seems like he wants to have some form of conversation. So then I just took my headphones out and was like, all right, then we're going to fucking have this conversation. And I don't know if I would have did that if I didn't watch the video. Yeah. Because that made me go, there's an understanding. I am the arbiter of this message for him right now. So I guess I'll tell him, you know. So.
Yeah, I'm not mad at nobody that want to see the video or nothing. Me personally, I can't see no more of that shit. Yeah. Like, I'm kind of fed up seeing that shit. I'm on a type of time where, like, niggas gotta do something so we ain't gotta see it no more. Like, that ain't gotta be a thing. Like, for me,
yeah, because not to cut you off, my bad. I feel like a lot of us are starting to become like numb to, you feel me? Like, I could watch one of those videos now with a straight face.
I was numb to hearing about every time I hear about another case. I was, you know, when I heard about the dude that was in his own neighborhood got shot, I was like, okay. And every time I hear about another story, okay, like this is Tuesday.
That's why I'm scared. Like, if this becomes another trendy 2-week, 3-week thing, like.
Did you guys watch like all the videos, like the ones that have, like, let's say like the past 3 years that have come out that were on tape? Philando Castile, Eric Garner.
Yeah.
Have you guys like watched all of those?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. And that might be part of the reason why it was easier for me to watch this one, because I've seen little bits of like Eric Garner. I saw, you know, little clips of, you know, whatever, but I don't watch a lot of the stuff in entirety I'm not a big fan to watch it and see it and bask in it, but this one was so how it was that you almost had no choice but, like, it doesn't matter what part of that video you end up watching. You watch 2 minutes from any window of that video, you bask in all 9 minutes of it. It's that, I don't know if I want to say powerful or if I want to say it's just that fucked up.
It's definitely fucked up.
But it sickens me every time I mention, like, this dude is down, dead, and you guys still did not get off his corpse for 4 minutes. What form of apprehension is this? What form of, and then for you to only get charged with 3rd degree and then bumped up to 2, and now the other cops are getting 3rd. What, one quote that I recently saw is, for all those, I think, and it tried to say Chris Rock said it. I don't know if he said it or not, but it seemed like something he would say. He's like, for a lot of the argument of you guys saying that there's plenty of good cops, don't let one bad apple, this and that, yada yada. It's like, well, where are all those good cops when the bad cops are doing the bad cops? Because apparently those good cops were also on his neck too.
And you notice in every fucking fucked up video, the niggas call for backup is another fucked up cop. Yep. That's backup. It ain't ever the fucking good cop that want to have a conversation.
Even in this video, it was an Asian cop sitting right next to him, just standing there, while the other 2 was on his back and while the main one was on his neck. Why don't you guys at least? And I'm not saying that the cops got to pull out their guns on their brothers and be like, "Hey man, stop! What the fuck you doing?" But why don't you guys be like, "Yo, I think that's enough." Like, what? Why is that? You don't even see a cop get close to that in most of these instances. I've seen a cop do that once for me. But, other than that, I've also had plenty of instances where I did not see a cop do that while they fucking illegally searched my shit, and I wasn't even close to a threat.
Yeah.
You can sit there and be crying with fucking 9 cops around you. They illegally search your shit. Like, what, nigga? You pulled me over because I was unregistered. Why you searching my shit? Like, what the fuck is, this and that?
That's why you gotta know your rights.
Shit. I mean, at that point, if somebody's emotionally elevated and devastated, like, you ain't even noticing that shit today.
You gotta balance your emotions enough to know your rights and know what they can and cannot do.
Yeah.
Because at that state, if you getting pulled over for a fucking for being unregistered and they trying to check your car and all that shit, you feel me? Whatever the fuck, like, I don't got nothing, nigga. I wasn't fucking. Ain't like I was drunk driving or fucking you think I'm under the influence.
Exactly. You ain't got nothing to fucking sit here and check my shit. And so
but yeah, I always tell like, yo, like, if in this right now, niggas really need to know their fucking rights. Like, that's it. Just read them shits every couple of days.
And they fail a lot with even the stuff in school. School tells you about things like slavery and civil rights like it's a fucking fairy tale. Like, they tell you about slavery, they tell you, some, depending on the passion of your teacher, you may learn a little bit too much about slavery. And then they'll tell you about Jim Crow because that's part of the civil rights. And
Martin Luther King?
Yep. And then they'll be like, Martin Luther King got shot. And after Martin Luther King got shot, they'll be like, and everything got passed, and then it was over.
Yep.
And that's about as close as you get, which is why people go, well, racism don't exist because slavery stopped and there's no more whites and colors only. They don't tell you about the whole, but right after Martin Luther King died, they made sure that no black person could fucking get any type of leg when it came down to money. They also wasn't hiring y'all niggas for certain jobs other than this. They also wasn't doing this and that. That was going to help you get a leg up. So then you were forced into no position. Then they made the government program start fucking you over or telling you, if the dad's in the house, then you can't have no help. But if you get rid of dad, then you got a house. So now you ain't even got black fathers in the house. So, like, they don't manage to truly educate you on how many steps they have taken to make sure that people were just making do what they were left with, not having all the opportunities and the same abilities, and just being lazy old black folk. Mm-hmm. Which is why the people who have white privilege or don't understand or are saying, well, there's plenty of successful black people, don't understand and know he did not have the same leg as you. Because even though I might have, from not growing up in a certain type of neighborhood, and I can genuinely say for the most part, like I might have missed out on a job or something because I was black, but I can't say that like, you know, I didn't, you know, they didn't give me that loan because I was black or this and that. I can't say that, but I guarantee you that my experience is not the experience for so many other black people. You know, for cats in the deepest of the ghetto in Chicago, or cats in Washington D.C., or you know, I was watching the movie Black and Blue the other day. I don't know if y'all know about that, but it's basically a lady cop was like a rookie, and she moved back to her old neighborhood that was real bad, but she's black, and so they're like, "Are you black? Are you blue?" And then she witnesses a killing of some gang members by cops that she was out with that day. Yeah. And so now, but she had a body cam on. So now they're chasing her throughout the whole movie, trying to get the body cam back. And there was a neighborhood in that was like, and I know y'all seen Training Day. Yeah. That was kind of like the area he lived in, where they was like, it's so bad in there, we don't even answer calls when they come in from there anymore, unless there's a cop in trouble in there. Like that's what was stated in the movie. And I'm certain that's a real motherfucking thing that happens in certain places. Not that I grow up in that place, no, but a place even half as bad as whatever that sounds, you guarantee that's marginalization at its finest. Sweet, buttered and salted, seasoned racism at its goddamn pride.
Yeah. So, what do y'all want to see happen next?
Honestly, I want to see niggas stop recording niggas dying. Like
you mean just start jumping in?
Yeah, like for me, like if you're gonna do that, like you basically just witnessing a murder, bro. Like keep it.
Yeah, they said the girl that recorded George Floyd's was a teenager, and that she's like traumatized.
Oh yeah, I mean, but my thing is also is that, you know, I had a friend that was like, "But why people ain't doing nothing about it? You know, why you not trying to be the leader? Everybody posted memes, but why you not this or why you not that? When you watch that video, there's most people around. Why they not jumping in?" And I told him, well, that's you asking somebody potentially to trade your life for his, because you don't know how they're going to react when you try to go, "Yo, get off this man's neck now, this and that, yada, yada." You don't know if he's just going to turn around, pop you in your gut, you fall over, and keep on stepping on his neck. You don't know certain things like that, you know. And then I said, you know, that could be you dying for nothing. He said, but you see that as dying for nothing. Well, if your cause was to hopefully save this man's life or even trade your life for this man, is it dying for nothing?
Nah, because that shit could ultimately spark a shift where if that shit happens somewhere else and they see that, niggas would be like, okay, it's probably worth it because I could save this nigga life, and that shit could be a domino effect.
Exactly.
And police would be iffy to even do some bullshit like that from that day forward.
And that's a lot of faith you gotta have in that what if hopefully you still gotta come to that conclusion in your head and then be like, but I'm gonna stand up for this guy. Now, at that point, shit, that's you having a delusion of grandeur, and maybe you don't even die in that case. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, do you want to get caught up in the delusion of grandeur and hoping that it represents something? And then not only that, you're dead, but how would you feel if you found out you died and it didn't do what you hoped it would do in that time? So I'm like, there's a lot of weight on that outside of just the regular crowd mentality of, you know, I think somebody else will do it, so I'm not doing nothing, because that happens all the time in crowd mentality. You know, when you hear about, you know, cases of like that girl who got like just raped dead in the middle of a park, and there was a whole crowd of people just watching her rape, because what happens with crowd mentality is somebody else thinks somebody else is gonna do something. Yeah. So now and the thing is, like, I mean, it was terrible. Like, she's getting raped, and I'm telling you, like, you want to talk about the trauma of just what that would be. I'm telling you, like, hundreds, you know, maybe not hundreds, but tens of at least, like 70, 80 people are damn near in a circle watching you get raped. But nobody's doing nothing because everybody thinks somebody's going to do something. And that's what happens in these cases of George Floyd. Now, a lot of times you don't end up seeing a crowd around. You know, like Philando Castile didn't have a crowd. He just had his girlfriend and his baby in the back. You know, Eric Garner didn't have much of a crowd around. But, you know, who the hell knew that he was going to get choked out how he does? But in the case of George Floyd, it's a very unique one because there was a crowd and there was the ability to do that. And it wasn't all of a sudden like Eric Garner where he's like, I can't breathe. And then, you know, within less than 60 seconds for somebody to make up their mind, it happens. No, you know, I can understand why with George Floyd some people say that, because it's true. Somebody could have wrapped their brain around for 5 minutes, like, should I do something? Should I not do something? Get this bullshit right now. You know what I'm saying? This shit's fucked
Just
up.
do enough to get the fucking officer to budge.
Some type of interference would have at least got his knee up off his fucking neck.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That was my thinking. Like, if you run the distraction, my nigga, you might get arrested. But that cop, I mean, could you imagine?
Literally going to jail. I was trying to help save his life, man.
Could you imagine if I'm watching this shit and I'm like, nah, fuck this shit, and then I go into like the nearest corner store or some shit and I buy a fucking bottle of liquor or some bullshit like that, say Big Salad or something like that, and I just take that bottle of liquor and throw that shit through somebody's fucking car window right next to that incident, and only the rest of the fucking cops get up except for the one on his neck and do some shit? Like, come on, B. Like, is that a possibility? I guess anything isn't a possibility, but I do agree, at least in this case, somebody could have at least tried to run a distraction or something without having it to be direct as Walking Dead is over to the cop who has his knee on his neck and going, get off him, this and that. Because the cop behind him could have did something then. Then he could have resumed what he was doing. You know, but it's still, you still have to make a fear-based decision. And I don't think it's fair for people to be in that visceral.
Man, if you could pull out your phone and fucking record niggas dying, you could do something,
but
bro.
I'm not gonna blame no little teenage girl for doing what she did.
I mean, yeah, but it wasn't just her recording, bro. Like, it was other people recording. Like, if you could pull out your phone and do that, you could do something else. Like, there ain't no excuse, nigga. You got a fucking murder on your phone, nigga. Like, fuck out of there with that shit. That shit is corny. Like, nah. There's no excuse for that shit, bro.
So you feel like
you made a conscious decision to do that, you can make a conscious decision to do something else. Yeah. Grab somebody else if you don't feel confident. Muster up some type of idea with somebody. You got, like you said, 8 minutes, my nigga, damn near 10 minutes. You had time to do something, influence somebody else to get something on the same page with you, so you ain't just out there looking crazy doing something. Like, you could have done something,
nigga
bro.
That's sitting right next to you or something, be like, yo, bro, let's do something real quick. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I'm tired of niggas recording,
the
bro.
key is just, get the nigga off his neck.
Yeah.
So tired of niggas recording, man.
You know, like, we can't stop him from getting arrested, bro, but we can stop this man from dying right now.
Yep.
I know everybody ain't built like that, but I'm just saying, like, something, it could have been a different outcome. Like, one small little interaction.
But I really,
I'm just tired of seeing niggas dying. Like, that's it. For no reason.
Yeah. And it becomes tough. It's becoming even more so a tough situation that we got to deal with, even explaining to our kids, or when you start trying to tell your kids not to talk back.
That's why I want to have kids, bro. What the fuck I look like raising my kid just to end up dead over a fucking traffic stop or just going to the store, nigga? Like,
no kids, bro.
Shit me.
No kids, bro. So you got.
I ain't about to put myself through that shit. I ain't about to put them through that. Nah.
Yeah, that's one thing that I be worried about all the time. Like, sometimes, like, even as a parent already, I'd be like, damn, was it? It's kind of, it's weird, but it's like messed up. Like, did I bring them into this world just to fucking have to shield them from too much?
Yeah, because
it's a bigger responsibility I got to deal with as a black man than it is as somebody who doesn't have to worry about that.
Yeah.
There's no such thing. I'm not gonna say it's never happened in history, but it's minute enough to go. You don't have to worry about your kid just walking down the street bopping in some music, and some niggas come up and just yoke them.
Just because they feel like it that day. Like, just because niggas feel like it.
And I was telling Jobo the other day, we was watching it was on TV, the movie Pleasantville, and when I watched this movie back in the day, it was just like 1998. It was just cool. Like, it was a nice movie. Like, I like it. But I never realized how deep the allegory in the fucking movie was. Where it was basically two people from the real world ended up getting thrown into a TV show that was like sitcom-y. And you know how, like, back in the day, sitcoms was very rigid, black and white. Wife cooks dinner every day at 6 p.m. This and that. This is how it goes. And it's very, I don't want to say boring, but it's very
cliche?
rigid. Huh?
Like cliche almost?
Yeah, like, it was just very, like, everybody's pleasant. It was literally pleasant. Like, there was never any trouble in Pleasantville. Like, all that shit. And the movie is basically about, like, Reese Witherspoon and fucking Tobey Maguire. They go into the world and they're kind of like rambunctious teens. And because they're real people in this TV show, the show starts to gather and get color. Mm-hmm. So next thing you know, they see like a flower that has color. And then next thing you know, they start seeing, a car has color. And they're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, this is weird. And then the people start getting color. And you start seeing things like basically racism arise from these white people. There ain't a black person in the movie, but these white people are getting actual color. Like, you can see their color. They're no longer black and white. And then you start seeing people making comments like, hey, you know, how's your little colored girlfriend? Yeah, she could, you know, whatever. I guess you've been too busy with your colored girlfriend. But then at the same time, make a proposition to the colored girlfriend that, you know, but you can come over here and bake cookies for me any day. But you just fucking sat there and shat on her like this and that. And you start to see white people basically using terminology and things like they did on people in the real world, black people, on other white people. So it becomes like an easily digestible pill of what racism looks like to white people without having to bring their predisposed, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Vision into it, because it's not, well, look at this white guy do something to this black kid. You don't see it. It's like, no, look at this white person treat this white person this way. Now do you see it? And I almost kind of like, I would suggest that movie almost like, yo, if you want to see what racism is like for a real white person who don't see it, go watch that movie, because it's not a white sign with a picket fence type movie. It's just a movie you can watch. But when you look deeper into what's happening in the movie, you're like, yo, this movie's straight up about racism. Like, dead ass. It's about racism and prejudice, and not embracing what's different. And so like, yeah, I would tell people go watch that movie just to fucking get a sense of it. Not no black person, but, you know, a white person that's just like, yo, just go watch this movie and tell you about racism. You be like, what the fuck? This ain't no fucking Selma shit. This ain't no. This ain't Amistad. Like, no, just go watch Pleasantville. No, you get it.
You could just go back and watch. Go back and watch the first movie ever made. Fucking Birth of a Nation. Go watch that shit.
Was that really the first movie ever made?
First movie ever made.
I mean, that wasn't silent, of course. That wasn't like a silent film or nothing like that.
Was it? I think it was.
Was Birth of a Nation a silent film?
Yeah, it was a silent film. It was just clips.
Wow.
It's a white dude, blackface, the whole movie.
Yeah, I have to go look at that. So I guess that's two movie suggestions that'll help you, you know, radical and contemporary. That'll help people see it. Yeah, I guess what I want to see next is like, I don't think anything major, but I want to see tighter restrictions on cops. Like, I want cops to be able to know, like, bro, don't, like I said, policing on cops. You step wrong, this happens to you. You know this is going to happen to you. Not this bullshit of, if I kill somebody, I'm going to get paid leave until they fucking bring me to jail, if they bring me to jail, or some shit. Like, come on, at that point, would I ever learn a fucking lesson? Would I even fucking step weird? Why? Because they talking crazy about me on the news? So fucking what? Fucking Friday, I'm going to get my fucking paycheck, and I'm going to go fucking take a cruise somewhere while I wait for these niggas to tell me that they going to call me or some bullshit. Like, no. Like, I want to see that. That would be, to me, a good first start, because we got a massive hurdle to deal with in the first place. But if we're going to keep it on cops for the moment, then we need to make it so that cops know for a fact, I can't get out of line. Just like we know for a fact we can't get out of line. Just like
we can't even fucking peacefully protest.
That's what I'm saying. Like, just like with white people, they think we can't get out of line because of laws. With us, we know we can't get out of line because of racism. That's part of the white privilege. So to me, you know, on the short scale, that's what I would like to see is you know, just legislation be like, look, this is the cops' rules now. The governor, something, be like, yo, you know, if this happens and this whatever, you know, like, that's what I would like to see. What about you, bro? Because you asked the question, so.
What I would like to see. First, I would like to, well, I hope, and I have a feeling that it's not going to be, like Brooklyn said earlier, one of those 2-week trendy type things. I really feel like this time around, it's the real deal. And that's great. I really would like to see people taking advantage of black-owned businesses, understanding which, you know, what does what, because we do have people and businesses and companies or whatever that can give us the shit that we've been getting from all these other places that fucking support Trump and support, you know, whatever. I really want us to make sure that we just stick to our guns. Because it's we got these long ass lists of these companies who fucking are supporting Trump, and so they clearly don't give a fuck about the fight that we're in right now.
My thing is, I also used to go as far as back, even though I know it was kind of maybe it's a little radical. I used to even go back and look at companies that used to buy or absolve companies that supported slavery, and then stop buying even those products.
Yeah.
You know, I do believe in the whole, like, if we could buy black, support black. Sometimes it's very difficult to understand and know what.
Only because it's not as accessible as everything else is.
Yeah.
And it's fucking easier to take the drive up the street to CVS than to be like, all right, let me go find that fucking.
Yeah, you can buy your Crest rail way easier than you can buy your fucking, you know, John's.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, John's toothpaste or whatever the fuck it is. So it's like, you know, it's difficult to do that. And then at that point, it's like, what do we do? Just start fucking witch doctoring it up in the fucking kitchen to make our own toothpaste? Like, what do we do to make sure that we start impacting?
But there's a shit ton of like Google Docs going around, like on Twitter and shit, of just companies and, you know, funds to donate to.
Yeah, that's why I got the bank that I got right now. It's because
you said yours is black owned, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they be pissing me off sometimes, but yeah.
Hey, bro.
But the thing is, they don't even piss me off on like no real shit. They piss me off on some fucking, you know, regular bank shit. I'd be like, yo, you know, my other bank ain't happy. Like, this is my other credit union ain't had this. Like, there wasn't a major bank, nigga. This ain't a credit union. I'm like, I fuck this shit, yo. Like it don't even be like y'all don't fuck shit right. They just be like, yo, can I cash this check? Well, you ain't got enough funds, so it's got to sit in your account. Man, fuck you. I'm gonna figure it out. Like, that's regular shit. But like, I definitely want people to start educating. One of those things is like black people when it comes to money, finance, all that stuff. Like all this stuff, going to check cash in places and shit like that. Like, yo, come on, stop this, yo. Like all this other stuff. Like every time somebody be like, yo, you got to go to this place or you got to use even. And I think Cash App is getting better. But at the beginning, when there was a choice between Cash App and fucking Venmo for me, dog, hell no, dog. Because like Cash App had higher fees. Cash App was charging you like 2-3%. Venmo was charging you 1%, but the only thing you heard in the hood and every black person I know was like, yo, Cash App, dog, yo, Cash App me, yo, Cash App me. And I'm like, they're not even the better company. They're the one taking more of your money. Now everybody's like evened out. Cash App, Venmo, PayPal, like everybody's doing the same thing. But at the time, it was like you saw people of color constantly choosing the worser option and promoting it to other people of color. And so that's one thing that I wish people would do, that if it's not, you know, Black Lives Matter related, I wish people would start educating themselves more in what they're utilizing other than just, well, my boy was using it, so I'm using it all the time. Like, I get that word of mouth is the most powerful marketing you can have, but it don't mean you're making the best choices.
I also think that's preference too. You talk about Cash App and fucking Venmo.
Well, no, at that time, this is like about a good year and a half ago. Now, like I said, they're all doing the same thing, so I really don't give two shits. But at the time, one was taking a lot more of your money than the other one. And that's part of what, like, even the check cashing thing is, like, you could just have a bank account and not have to fucking pay nobody to fucking take part of your check. Yeah. You know, but you're not doing that. Or you could go to fucking Stop and Shop, who's not taking a percentage, they're just taking $2. But the check cashing place is taking a whole $17 out your fucking shit. And so that's what I mean. It's not even about the preference. It's like, yo, just do the homework to know, am I losing more or am I just doing the same shit? You know, then you can go preference all you want. But if you prefer to lose more of your money, or you prefer to have somebody not give you as many ingredients in something, or prefer to have something, by all means, that's you, and I'm not going to take that away from you. But don't complain about what you've been preferring if you didn't do enough. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. That's my thing. If it's not Black Lives Matter related, that's my little spiel. So,
but yeah, we gotta get money back. I'm not saying I don't know the pure statistics of how the money was flowing between, you know, the black community, but we do have to get that shit back up and running.
Yeah, I think that's gonna strike me, man. I'm gonna research like Black Wall Street like a shit ton right now to see how they got it going, what was happening, and see if. And I know there has to be somebody who's been more in tune and more passionate than I am, who's at least had to write like a fucking essay online that was like how we can do it again.
More likely. Yeah. Sure, you can probably find that shit on Twitter.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
Twitter be the go-to.
It has to be possible, man.
Just fucking stay safe and keep fighting a good fight. Know your rights and Black Lives Matter.
Black Lives Matter.
Are you gonna say Black Lives Matter too, Brooklyn?
Black Lives Matter. Stop.
He looked like he was thinking about it. Like, damn, do they?
Nah, Black Lives Matter, man. Stop recording. Stop recording us dying, bro. Stop recording niggas dying.
I was trying to get the BTK moment.
I was trying to get the BTK. You know who I am.
Lil Fizz, you ready?
My name is Ted Gray, and I'm a Sagittarius. And Black Lives Matter. Joe will be going.
My name Lil Fizz.
And you know what I'm about. Black Lives Matter. And this nigga over here like,
yeah, my fault.
My side.
My fault. I ain't know he was piecing up.
I think we covered a lot, man. I mean, if we want to cover more, I think that hopefully people watch this. I want to, there's a couple things I want to do with this to make sure that people are not watching it just because it is a long video. Yeah. But I think we covered a lot, and I hope that if there are discussion points that people bring up around this video, then we can go ahead and make another video to address those things that either we think about or that we agree or disagree. Because we had moments in this where we disagree. We had moments where you was more radical, or so I like that, and I want to see what other people have to say, so that we can grow from it, and hopefully they can grow from it too. So,
no justice, no peace, no racist police.
I'm with that shit.
Who's screaming that? Downtown, right? That was downtown they screaming.
That's a common one.
Yeah.
I ain't heard the no racist police. I heard the no justice, no peace since I was fucking, came out the belly. But back when my mama still had the Jerry curl. But my mom had that when I was in high school, bro. She ain't let that up. But I ain't. Yo, we've never had to sign off on camera before. Yo, like,
okay, that's what that was. I'm dead.
Yo.
This nigga said holla.
Yo, we good.